up, y'all? It's Kymmy Coco, your host of Connecting the Dots podcast. How is everybody's week going? Good?
Pretty good. How about you? What's been going on?
Too much has been going on. I'm actually, if anybody needs some water, hit me up when I leave here because I have a trunk full of water because I was really on my way to Houston to save the day because my daughter is in Houston and they have no water. They had no power for a few days this week, and it was for the first time in 122 years, it went below zero in Houston. They have never had a winter weather advisory.
Below zero? I didn't know it was that cold.
It was the wind chill. So I think the actual temperature was in the teens, but the wind chill was below zero.
Yeah.
So as you know, I'm sure you've seen, the power went out. The power went out at the water treatment facility, so they have no running water. Because the temperature went so low so fast, and because usually the people in Texas, when they get their homes done, they don't have the I guess they don't have to meet the standards that they have to meet in other places that get cold regularly. So a lot of people have now their pipes busted. Yeah. So I didn't go because now they're doing better. They have lights. Mostly everyone has lights. The people that didn't have lights because of the rolling blackouts now have lights. The people that don't have lights because of something, the infrastructure, like the power lines or whatever, they still don't have lights. So
hopefully everything's back to normal.
I'm sure it will.
I think they've been, giving aid and trying to get aid to them and everything, even from a federal standpoint, which, we're not used to these last 4 years.
Right. So now they've declared a state of emergency, a major state of emergency, which I never heard that term used before. I don't know if that's a step up from a regular state of emergency. Yeah. But, they'll be back to normal pretty soon, I hope. I didn't go. Everybody said, don't worry about it. Now that the ice is not on the road or anything, the shipments will be coming in. Yeah. So they'll be all right. But Texas, your boy, Ted Cruz, he hopped on a flight. He was out. He was like, I'm out.
Ted Cruz, the epitome of...
He chucked the deuce. What y'all say in Houston? He chucked the deuce.
Catch flights, not feelings.
Catch
AKA
flights, not
Ted
feelings.
Cruz
Ted
himself.
Cruz was out. So, I mean, that was embarrassing. For who?
For who?
For him. For his family, I guess. I mean, he came his ass right back. You see that?
I feel like he got shamed in coming back, but I feel like, once again, why are we surprised that Ted Cruz is being Ted Cruz? Like, has he not shown us who he is already?
I tell people all the time, back in 2016, when he won his election and he had his party at the Redneck Cafe, that was it for me and Ted Cruz.
This the same dude that, once again, like, this man didn't even defend his wife. Like, you can't let nobody get on TV and talk greasy about your family.
And if you let somebody talk about your wife, don't let them talk about your daddy.
Right. So it's kind of like, this man ain't got no soul, or, he doesn't have that same... he's a villain. He ain't gotta, do what we like.
Nobody likes him, and I don't know about y'all.
Evidently, somebody likes him. He keeps getting reelected. That's all I'm saying.
People accuse Democrats of being blindly voting for people just because they're Democrats, and they pitched this whole thing during the presidential election about not being on the Democrat plantation, da 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 da. But you see, these people could care less. As long as it's a Republican, even if he's catching flights in the middle of a pandemic and in the middle of a major disaster, you still voting for him because he's a Republican and he is giving you his ass to kiss on more than one occasion. But he's not the only one. He's not the only one that hopped on a plane.
Who else hopped on the plane?
Another Republican from Texas hopped on a plane, Gary Gates.
I was only focused on Ted Cruz.
So from Fort Bend County. He left his home. He took a private jet. At least Ted Cruz flew commercial.
That's dumb, though. Like, once again, furthermore proving.
Go private, if anything.
He booked a private jet and he went to Orlando.
Like, who you think not gonna spot you, Ted Cruz? Like, you're Ted Cruz. Like,
especially since you got that Dallas fade. He got the Dallas fade now.
And the internet is undefeated. Like, it doesn't take anything for the internet to hop on you. And like, when they own you, they're not gonna stop. They'll run all your files. And Ted got all those files ran, which is why he got ran back home. So, that's where we are. Praying for everybody in Texas for sure.
In Georgia, they're trying to stop you from voting again. So they have anti-voting bills that are proposed in the Georgia Senate. SB 69 is repealing automatic voter registration. So, you know, when you move here, allegedly, they automatically register you to vote, and they're going to try to stop that. SB 177, repealing no excuse, vote by mail, and it will require a doctor's note. So if you want to vote by mail, you have to have a note from your doctor. Yeah. Who you show that to, I don't know. But that's one of the ones that are being proposed. SB 71, repeal no excuse, vote by mail. So right now you could just ask for an absentee ballot and mail it in. No excuse. That they want that off. Keep in mind when I'm reading all this that people are supposed to help you vote and make it easier for you to vote, not harder. That's called voter suppression.
Right.
And voter suppression is something that they've been using ever since black people were able to vote. Okay. SB 175, require photo ID for vote by mail application for all non-UOCAVA voters. SB 202 restricts sending absentee voter applications, sanctions violators, and implements more list maintenance rules. So remember how they were purging people off that hadn't voted in the last two elections?
Yeah.
They want to keep, and give more reasons why they want you to get purged. SB 68 would ban drop boxes. So you know those little boxes they put around town? Those will be gone.
Yeah.
SB 93, banning mobile voting sites. I think those are for handicapped people, if I'm not mistaken, where you pull up and you vote from your car.
Oh, okay.
They want that gone. Expand poll watcher access, banning the SOS from sending absentee applications, which the Secretary of State, from sending absentee applications without requests. So before they were just sending them like, hey, you don't have to go. I know you're afraid of COVID. We're going to send you this. You just mail it back. They want to stop that. Basically anything that makes it convenient to vote. The anti-voting bill, these are all being proposed. So what we suggest is that you call your senator or your state representative and tell them to protect your right to vote. State senators can be reached at 404-656-6578, and state representatives can be reached at 404-656-5030. And I got this from the New Georgia Project on social media. Follow them because they have a lot of great information about voting, and they'll keep you up on it. What were you going to say, Dom?
I would say it's kind of ironic how, after, one side loses power, all these, bills and rules about voting all of a sudden come about. So I always tell people, just pay attention to what's going on in your, we always talk about local and state elections. These are the ones that really change your lives. So really pay attention.
These are the ones.
Yeah, pay attention to what's going on because they're doing everything in their power to make it harder for you to vote.
You see that, right?
And that should tell you something in itself.
So who makes it who makes it harder for you to vote? Like, I want more people to vote because I want to put out my agenda and I want you to buy my agenda. Like, I want you to think I'm going to do a good thing. No. You are going to win by suppressing the vote. So that means you have no policy that you think people are going to sign up for, that they're going to get behind. Yeah. You just want to use manipulation tactics and gaslighting to run your campaign.
Yeah. And it's glaring. I think I've seen that over the last few years. And I think I mentioned this on a podcast or two ago, how here in Georgia you really only see one side doing voter registration.
Yeah, you notice that?
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So it makes you really wonder what the aim is, because I feel like both sides have just a good chance to build a base if they get out here and, do the work, which is evident because, like, once again, Georgia's blue now, which if 10, 15 years ago, we never would have thought that was remotely possible. So it just shows, one side's doing the work and one side's just kind of doing smoke screens and mirrors to, suppress votes. And we're seeing how that's turning out. And these next few years will be interesting, too, because it's definitely going to be a war going on beside in the political realms, you know.
Another thing that I wanted to talk about, because I posted this on our Instagram page, and make sure y'all follow us on Instagram, CTD_ATL. People were actually making videos responding to this, and I posted it in our stories. But this story really got people going. In Tennessee, they have an abortion bill, right? And that would give the father the right to prevent abortion. And it's gotten a step further in the Tennessee legislature. Legislation has been introduced to Tennessee's House and Senate that would allow a father to request an injunction to prohibit a woman who is pregnant with his unborn child from obtaining an abortion. Now, this is Senate Bill 494. It's already passed the second consideration, and House Bill 1079 has passed first consideration. So it's moving its way up to becoming a law.
Yeah.
The bills have made progress, but not without opposition. Opponents of the bill argue they're unconstitutional if they do become law. There's a lot of judges to consider, including whose rights are superior, the mother, the unborn, or the father. Now, that's a good topic, right? That's a good way to open up a conversation about what you expect from the person that you could potentially have a child with, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm all about being proactive instead of being reactive. That's the way to be. That's the way to always be.
That's called being a responsible adult. But this is...
Those are the people that should be parents in my book. You know what I mean? Like, you got to think about everybody else in this scenario. Now, when I was a kid, not really a kid, old enough to hear the birds and the bees, when you find out about the birds and the bees, the first thing they tell you when you find out about the birds and the bees is that when you have sex with somebody, you could get pregnant. Mm-hmm. That comes with the talk, right? Everybody has the talk. Everybody's seen what happens. So
everybody doesn't have the talk.
So guess what? This is the realest shit that you're going to hear all day. Mm-hmm. Everybody that you have sex with, you could potentially have a child with. Do you ever think about that? Do people think about that?
I think because right
come
now...
Come on, sir. Come on with it, man.
I don't have any kids, and I always tell people that that's on purpose. For me, I always tell people it wasn't hard not to have kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was always mindful, and it got to the point in dating, I'll probably say, I wouldn't like that my whole youth career, but by the time I was 26, 27, I literally had the mindset of I'm not sleeping with anybody I can't see having a kid with.
I agree. I think around
that same age. But how long did it take for you to have that mentality?
About 26, about 25.
That's 26. A long ass time. Because if you think about it, you have been pressured to have sex, and I'm speaking as a woman. Now, men, I don't know.
Women are faster than the guys, though.
Women are faster than the guys.
You'd be surprised the peer pressure.
That what you just said?
Yeah. Talk to any teacher, talk to anybody that works with like youth right now. You'd be surprised how often it is that the young ladies pressure the young men to do certain things. And like it took me a while to catch on to that too, and it like blew my mind away because like even how we grew up, like you know what I'm saying, it was always the boys like mastermind and stuff trying to get stuff together and. Like,
so it's not like that anymore. Now we got the city girls.
Hey, we fought for equal rights, and we get them now, especially with these young people.
Now we having hot girl summers,
right?
And now we the aggressors. That's your defense.
And in the whole scheme of things, I kind of love it. You know what I'm saying? Because like I like it, going back to rap.
It cuts the chase, right?
Yeah, I like that it's more than back when we were growing up, it was only 1 or 2 female rappers. Now women dominating the game. So I think that's a reflection of just society in general because like it's literally been a whole women's liberation movement, which is time for it, but stuff like this law is definitely gonna make stuff very, very interesting because in the Bible Belt down south, you have all these opinions. In Tennessee, pro-life,
allegedly.
People, I'm just saying, it's definitely a hot topic
conversation. It's a different kind of pro-life because when the child is a teenager and they doing wrong, I don't know how pro-life people are in Tennessee, but that's a whole nother discussion. This bill, now they're going back and forth. Planned Parenthood has something to say. Everybody is weighing in, right? So one of the arguments is, this is Governor Bill Lee. You already know I am strongly pro-life. I will continue to defend this position, Lee said in his 2021 State of the State address. I believe life starts at conception. I believe both the mother and the father were equally involved in bringing this to life, and we believe that they both have a say in keeping the baby alive. A pregnant person must have the ultimate control over their body and their pregnancy. This is unconstitutional, insulting, and dangerous. This bill is terrible, and this is from another person weighing in. Under the legislation, the court would issue an injunction if the person who filed the petition proves they are the biological father and there is a reasonable probability the mother will seek an abortion. The question is whether or not this bill is constitutional. The bill is almost certainly unconstitutional because the court has actually struck down laws that are less restrictive over the past 30 years on a woman's right to get an abortion. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people weighing in, but this bill, while people are talking, is steady advancing. Yeah. So, a woman has a constitutional right to an abortion before the point of viability. Everybody has something to say, but a woman's uterus is always, for some reason, up in the damn politics. I don't know why. That doesn't make sense. But please, let's discuss this because I'm concerned as a woman.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. As a woman, I'm interested in how you feel.
You very well may be the aggressor as a woman, right? Okay. So I would take the same thought that a man might take and say, okay, yeah, I'm having a great time with this guy, but do I want him to be the father of my children?
Yeah.
No. And so suppose I say no, but you can say, well, so too late. You are pregnant and I want this kid.
Yeah.
And so that would be something that people would have to consider, and you should have been considering this. But since now the laws are all up in your body, you really have to take it more seriously.
It's just a touchy situation because I feel like the woman, at the end of the day, she's carrying a baby. So, but it's like they both made that decision at the beginning. So,
but did they? If
they both consented to have unprotected sex,
you can't have it both ways.
But sex is so casual. Who's doing this?
But they're consenting to have sex though. But they're still consenting to have sex.
Hey, drug dealing is casual depending on where you come from, but it's still against the law. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't have stuff one way just because it feels a certain way to you. That's why we have laws and you have to take emotion out of stuff, and that's what people don't understand.
But as a woman though, right?
As a man.
Because you are the one. You are the one carrying this baby. Yeah. Like, you could go to work every day and live your life and deny the fact that you have a child on the way. We don't have that option. So
Brenda did.
What?
I said Brenda did.
But for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, Google Tupac. Brenda had a baby.
Brenda had a baby.
So that's a great word. I'm glad you said that. That brings up something else. Back when I was growing up, that was a thing. Like, girls would get pregnant and they would literally throw their baby in the dumpster because they had nowhere to turn. The father is gone. They don't know about raising a child, and that was their way out. And at a time when abortion laws are getting more strict and people are being more conservative, that's what it comes down to. I mean, you're gonna push people back to those back alley abortions, the throwing away of, infant after you have the baby full term. It could be a mess. I mean, as much as we say we know and we get it and all this stuff, the casual way the culture as a whole, highlights sexuality or is hypersexualized, I'm saying. It doesn't make what's going on? Are we giving the wrong message to young people about how serious it is? Because this could happen to you. You could have this happen to you if you're not protecting yourself, even if you are, because what's 100% protection, right?
Yeah.
It's just something you got to think about. And that's why we had this conversation one day on Facebook, I and your Facebook friends, because you were saying it was a different scenario. It wasn't about abortion, but it was more so about sex, right? And how, I don't remember what happened, but I was saying, like, you don't suffer the consequences that we suffer. So I think we should have
not the same ones, but I think I always tell women, I definitely feel what you're saying, because there's a different set of consequences for women. I always tell people that consequences hit women right away.
So if that's the case, do you think we should be, like you said, like now we're the aggressors, like, you know, we're dominating. And so you take abortion off the table as an option. We're not playing on the even playing field out there in the streets. Like,
first of all, let me just go on record to say before we get into hate mail, or I get into hate mail, but I firmly believe in women having full control of their bodies. Like, I feel like that's something that men just got to go sit in the corner and shut up on. But for sake of conversation, equality and all that other stuff, you have to look at it from both standpoints. I always tell people, if we're going to be adults, we have to have adult conversations. And just like you said, I think one of the things that I always keep in mind is there's the ideal thought process of I would love for life to be this way, and then this is how stuff really is. And I feel like too many times we don't want to, we think about utopian processes when it comes to love and dating and, you know, hoping things go well. But the fact of the matter is, you always not gonna be on the same. Like, it's people married that's not on the same page all the time. So just imagine 21, 22, 34, 35-year-old, you know what I'm saying, people, because we see every age group act up and have their issues. So it's one of those things to where I always tell people you have to be very mindful. And luckily, I learned from looking at people beside me. Like, I've seen some of my friends have kids younger.
And they weren't ready.
And couldn't go outside and play. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't, you know what I'm saying, go to the party and different things like that. And I was like, you know, that sucks. But, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to make sure I can keep having fun, go where I want to, when I want to, and you know what I'm saying.
So you deliberately, you as a man, you knew what the consequences were of having kids, and so you made a conscious decision to not do that.
Yeah,
that's very smart.
I mean, but that's what you always hear growing up. Like, even like our parents, they say like, man, they tell you to wait because of the opportunities they weren't able to get to, and it's just.
But it's like we all heard that at some point.
And some people, I was one of the people that listened. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
And then once I really started living, I went to college and really started living for real. Like, a lot of people that were telling me this, they didn't go to college. A lot of my I was a first generation college student. But once you go to college and get to open your eyes and experience and everything, you really get to moving around the world. It's like, yeah, you know what? Let me just a lot of my college friends don't have kids. Like, they don't have kids. But
I think that teen pregnancy was an issue, like, really in the 80s and in the 90s. And I don't really see it being an issue anymore. But even as an adult, if you don't have the, you know, like, everybody doesn't have those. They don't want to be parents. Let's just be honest. You don't want to have that. You don't have the stability it takes to have a kid. And I don't know. I can see this going left real fast because I don't want no more Ray Caruth shit. You remember that?
Right. Oh, yeah.
That was crazy. He was like, I'll be damned. You're not having this baby. Right. He killed that girl. Well, he didn't kill her. He had somebody else do it. But and then he went and hid in the trunk. Go Google that story. Yeah, that'll keep you entertained all afternoon.
Last year,
and the baby has
Down
syndrome, cerebral palsy.
So, yeah, something like that.
A mess. But this is just like, you know, you gotta. I know everybody. It's like nowadays, it's like you said, women are the aggressors, but ladies, they don't suffer the consequences that we suffer. Let's just be real. And if you get the opportunity, some of these dudes are petty. What if they be like, oh, no, I don't want you to have an abortion. I want you to be my baby mama because you make more money than me. Now what? Now the tables done turned.
I feel like it should be something to, if it's going to be like that, if the guy wants to keep it and the mom don't. I mean, I hate that she would have to go. I was about to say, I hate that she would have to go through the pregnancy, but the father would have to be the primary care, and then the mom could just leave. It should be something in the law that says that, because she says she doesn't want to be a parent.
But like, once again,
she don't have to hold
I'm thinking about, like, how do you, like, once again, like, just from a basic science standpoint, like, a woman, you have to carry it for a certain amount of time.
The full term, 9 months.
Before you even, like, you know, how do you even test, make sure this person is the dad, you know, hypothetically speaking.
Well, that, like, I think, too, there's some new procedure where they take the DNA test, inter-utero, I don't know, what's the word? Do you know the word?
But the thing
in utero?
But the thing is, if this is state, like, and this is just me, you know, forgive me if I'm ignorant, but, like, when I look at Tennessee and I see the money they spend things on from a political standpoint, like, why are we going to waste money on something like this? I'm sorry to say it like this, and it may sound harsh, but it's kind of like I can think of 100 other things that Tennessee could be, you know, doing to make their state better than to spend time on this.
This bill regarding rape, because that's another scenario that you have to throw into this. The bill states, notwithstanding this section to the contrary, a person who executes a voluntary acknowledgement of paternity for the purpose of seeking an injunction pursuant to blah, 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 shall not rescind or challenge the voluntary acknowledgement of paternity under any circumstances, including on basis of fraud, duress, or material mistake of fact.
And what about issues where, like, because once again, thinking about pregnancy from a different standpoint, from a woman's perspective, I know women that have had health issues, you know, with pregnancy, and you know what I'm saying, they put their life on the line to
every time you give birth, you are putting your life on the line. So,
like, what's the caveat of, like, if a woman has health issues, she can't, like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's so much red area.
Well, they are getting themselves into a whole situation with this bill.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a mess, and I'm glad I don't live in Tennessee. I'm also glad I'm not trying to have any kids at this age. This shocked me. New evidence regarding Malcom X's assassination names NYPD, FBI as co-conspirators. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I actually just seen that today.
Ben Crump, Attorney Ben Crump, the civil rights attorney of everyone, he had a press conference with Malcolm X's daughter yesterday, and what happened was a deathbed declaration by a former undercover NYPD officer accused the NYPD and the FBI of acting as co-conspirators in the assassination of Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. And all I said was, oh, okay, then we been knew. We been knew.
Right.
We knew that. That's no secret. I mean, why do we have to keep convincing other people that these things are happening? Like, I believe in God, so I say God, but I know y'all so woke now. Y'all say the universe. The universe is showing y'all what's going on, and y'all still don't know what's going on. We had to have a whole nother impeachment hearing so y'all can see that there's cops, there's military people, all these people that are involved in the white supremacists and all that. We have had to continue to show you this, and we told you this, and we've been telling you this. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why did Ted Cruz have to hop on a plane?
I feel like it's all around.
To wherever the hell he was. Where was he going? Why did he have to hop on a plane to Cancun for you to know? He helped plan the insurrection. He don't give a damn about his constituents. He could care less about what's going on in Texas. And the universe keeps revealing all this stuff to people. And they won't understand. They're wasting everybody's time and money on this foolishness when it's like, when the universe is showing you all this is true. Listen to the black folks. That's what the universe is whispering. Listen to the black folks. I'm so glad that you're
coming around, Kim, because you're starting to sound like me. You remember that? What was that? An episode or two ago, I was like, you sound triggered. And I was like, why do y'all keep letting these same people, these same situations
do the same thing?
Trigger y'all. It's kind of like some people gotta. It's kind of like a fight. You know how some people have to psych themselves up to go fight. I'm not like that. It's kind of like if
you show me what was going on.
Yeah, like if I know I got to go fight. You know what I'm saying? I'm just stay ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to sneak up on me. But I feel like we get comfortable. We get, you know what I'm saying, relaxed. And then something comes along and pops our bubble. And then we run around and we trigger. It's like, it's like, nah. Like, you lost focus. You did exactly what they wanted you to do. And now you back here in the aha position. I don't like being in the aha position. So if you do something to me one time.
That's what I'm saying. That's another lesson. That. The lesson of the day. If y'all watch this podcast and walk away with anything,
what you been saying? What's your quote for? What's your quote you been saying all last year?
Be proactive instead of being reactive.
You said 2020 is showing you.
Okay, right. 2020 is showing us who people are. I hope we remember. I kept saying that. I've been saying that. I said that every day. That was my tweet. Every morning I woke up, I said, see, we've been trying to, we done showed you. 2020 showed us everything. They showed us we ain't ready for a damn thing. We ain't ready for a pandemic. We ain't ready for the hurricane. We not ready for the winter storm. We not ready for nothing. You know what we ready to do? Insurrection at the Capitol. We worried about the wrong damn thing.
We built around war. Only thing the United States is properly prepared
it's
to
fight.
do
That's
is
all we
to
gotta
go
do
to
is
war.
fight.
And that's why you see our economy and our people in the state, even the infrastructure, like, you know what I'm saying, like, it's super scary to know that something is, and not to be less than anything that's going on, but with this being the greatest country in the world, quote unquote, how unprepared we are for things like ice storms and things like, you know what I'm saying.
You are the energy capital of the world. Allegedly. The energy you speak of is oil.
Right.
I don't know if you guys have been sleeping under a rock in Texas for the last 20 years, but people are moving away from oil. Mm-hmm. So what do? You lie to your people and say, all the other sources of energy are wrong. I don't know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, they're full of shit, and we don't need renewable sources of energy. We need to keep using oil. What? Are y'all serious? Okay, so what good did the oil do for y'all last week? Like, we got jokes for days about Texas. Like, y'all do too much. Y'all do way too much. And I am taking the liberty to speak on it because your damn senator was all up in Georgia all summer running around here telling us how to run our election. So, right, now I'm going to talk about Texas for the rest of this damn show. I lived there for 15 years, so I reserve the right to talk about how messed up it is and how y'all just keep voting for the same damn people. And if you are an active voter, because I think Texas has the least amount of registered black voters, but that's another question because you know what the black people in Texas be worried about? The damn Dallas Cowboys and a whole bunch of other foolishness like...
You just going out. Yeah.
I'm tired.
We talking about voters, and we kind of talked about this on our call the other day.
Oh.
About the... What's up with... he's still within his 90 days, but I don't think Biden moving fast enough for him.
90? It's been 30, 3 days.
Hey, it's times 2 right now.
We trying to get the look. The guy, he had to stop a lot of bleeding. Mm-hmm. I mean,
okay, let me ask this question before you.
Let me ask you, first of all, I voted for. I didn't vote for him because I didn't get a chance. But if it was up to me, I would have.
Y'all might be able to help me out too.
I would have voted. I don't want him to. He's going. Wait, let me give this disclosure before he says what he's going to say because he's going to paint me as a total Joe Biden supporter.
Did Biden say he was canceling student loans?
He did not.
Oh, he didn't. I saw a yes and a no. He said that?
He did not.
Okay. Did he say that, Kim?
He said he gonna work on it.
That's exactly what he said.
He understood that's what it really meant.
What he said, but now his tune has been, no, I'm not canceling.
Well, what he said was he can't do $50,000 cancellation. That's what he said. He said he's willing to do 10 straight off the bat.
The number was up in the air when he was looking for votes. Yeah, it wasn't a set number when he was looking for votes. It was
exactly. So how could you say that he's doing?
So that means he got over on us.
I don't know.
But we also talked about this in one of the prior podcasts about asking specifically for what you want because you always end up in situations like this when you don't.
We never had an amount.
We talked up and down about Ice Cube. Ran the man all across the country, his name through the mud. But
did he have anything about student loan debt in his black people proposal?
But once again, it's about working on sitting down at the table with both sides, seeing what they got to say, and we can work on those figures, down the line. But you gotta have something on paper because if you don't, you always gonna get the short end of the sticks in politics. That's how politics works. It's a power game.
But that's what. And shout out to the Black Panther Party. Mm-hmm. Did y'all watch the Judas in the
Back Messiah? Yeah,
baby.
Oh yeah.
I'm mad, and I'm not gonna blame my parents because I know they didn't tell me this. I'm mad at whoever had me thinking that those people were like some sort of terrorists.
But you
I was led astray.
You thought the Black Panthers
serious.
was terrorists?
Yeah, I grew up thinking that they were bad. Not bad, but not bad. I take bad away.
You learned they were a terrorist organization.
I learned that they were too radical. They weren't gonna kill people, and one of them is from New Jersey. She actually shot a New Jersey police state trooper.
They didn't play it.
And I was too young, but allegedly, I don't know if this is some sort of family, because family lies go generations. Mm-hmm. But allegedly, my older brother, rest in peace, Terry, He was in high school, and the cops asked him if he saw her because she was in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. And so maybe that's where I got it from. Like, you know, in a child's mind, I'm like, if the cops are looking for somebody, they got to be the bad guys, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I just interpreted it that way, but wow, what a bit of history that I really grew up not wrapping my head around. And I would just imagine that is a lot of people.
No, I feel like my generation, like, I was always, they was glorified, and then you got to think at the time. I'm about to say at the time I was growing up, Tupac was talking about them and glorified. But my peoples always talked good about it. It was never. I never thought of them as terrorist, a terrorist group.
Well, I didn't. You know, I started to come around when Tupac's mother was involved, and I kind of got it. You know, but even Tupac, when I was growing up, Tupac was painted as a bad guy. When Tupac first came out, he was painted as a bad guy.
He still is by a lot of people. You know, I love the polarization of Tupac. It shows humanness. Like, you know, that's one of the biggest things I love about Tupac. Is kind of like you can't. It shows the growth of people, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we like to, you know,
highlight
cancel culture. Yeah. Like we love to throw people away. But I feel like Tupac's story is literally one of, because I always tell people, and people can get mad at me for saying this, but I always tell people the only reason Tupac is dead because he didn't stay true to himself, who he really was.
Facts.
And so it's a story of, you know, it's a different light when you can look on the outside looking in and seeing somebody's journey. And I feel like Tupac's journey is just one we can all learn from.
Well, I knew that he was headed in the wrong direction when he started messing with Suge Knight. Mm-hmm. You know, just from being around, being old enough to have witnessed all of it, and being a fan of his, like a real Tupac fan back in the 90s. Shout out to Thug Life. But you know, when he started hanging out with Suge Knight, I was like, oh, he ain't right.
That's like when MC Hammer went to Death Row. You just kind of like, you know what I'm saying?
Snoop, all of them. Like,
right.
What's going on?
But you got to think, like,
that's where the money was.
But nah, even with, I didn't realize Fred Hampton was only 21 years old. Like, these people
all
were
of them
young.
All of them were.
Like, they young, so you influence. I mean, you get influenced easy around that time. Like, you don't know what you want to do, or you don't really know nothing.
But that's the age.
Tupac said
some
that.
People Tupac said that.
And I feel like that's
speeches.
one thing we always take lightly when it comes to young people. I always tell people.
That's that warrior age.
I always tell people revolutionaries never are old people.
Never.
Look, John Lewis started when he was how old?
All of them.
Martin Luther King started when he was how
old? All of
old?
them. Tupac, Biggie, everybody. They were in their 20s.
You don't just grow up one day and be like, ooh, I'm going to be a revolutionary. Like, ain't no time. And that's one of the biggest things I loved about the Fred Hampton story. Like, of course, like, I grew up Black history, so I was well aware of his story. But, like, when people found out that he was just 21. And wait, he was 21 at the age of his death.
That he died.
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
So,
once again, you got to
as a teenager, he doing all that. Like,
exactly.
But I think at that around that age, like, and I think we always talk about it, like, and I'm sure but you just fearless around that age. You don't even feel like you can die.
That's
just
the warrior age.
Yeah,
I tell people that's the best
in one of his
thing
interviews,
about
he was
being
like between
young.
18 and 25. If you could, that's the age you gotta catch a black man. Mm-hmm. Between that's his warrior years. Whatever he's gonna focus on, that's when he has the most energy to focus on it. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that, like, they were like, the 30 years old, forget them. They done, they already afraid of what they're going to be afraid of.
They said they was.
You got to get them when they're young. And that's why, like we were talking about our last episode, y'all. Check out the last episode. That was a great episode. Shout out to everybody that was there last episode. That was a great episode. Check that out. Well, like we were talking about the Water Boys. I just saw them today. Great group of kids. If they get that energy channeled in the right direction, they will take over Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Because those boys are driven, they're determined, they're young, mm-hmm. they have that entrepreneurial spirit, they hustlers, mm-hmm. they're aggressive. If they channel that energy in the right direction, they're gonna do something. I think the Water Boys we're gonna have them in here one day.
Hey, let's make it happen, like for real.
I really think that they're gonna be on somebody's something one day. They're gonna be.
That's the type of talent that you have to harness. And I always tell people that's the job of adults. Instead of holding kids back, we need to make sure they have everything they need to be as great as they can. And when I see people like those kids that are out there selling water, when I see, kids that have the entrepreneurial spirit or just a spirit to do anything, I always tell adults that that's one thing that we have to be careful about. We are really, really quick to hold people back because we're scared. We want to be protected. We want them because we know what the world is on the outside. But when you're young, you still wide-eyed, fearless, and so that's what's
driving you.
Yeah, so you have to find a way to invest in that spirit instead of tempering it down.
Absolutely,
and that's big.
Don't sleep, y'all. Keep watching our podcast. We're gonna keep y'all up on what's going on. Another heads up: David Perdue has filed paperwork to run against Raphael Warnock in 2022.
Oh, yeah.
They don't sleep, y'all. They do not sleep. They don't sleep, and neither should we.
Mm-hmm.
They've already started. Brian Kemp, he's giving the teachers.
Stacey's running against him, right?
Well, she's not yet officially announced it. Yeah. We're assuming that she will. She should. We want her to. But Brian Kemp, he's already campaigning. He's out here talking about, he's giving the teachers $1,000 bonus, and he's doing this, he's doing that. He's already trying to find somebody to be on his side because, the Republicans,
it's looking rough.
They're split, right? They've got the Trump Republicans, and they've got the I'm just Republican because my daddy and my granddaddy were Republicans. And so now that group of people is split. So he's going to have to try to reel in somebody because the Trump Republicans are anti Brian Kemp because, like we talked about before, he wouldn't cheat for Trump. So we'll see how that goes. We don't care. Keep fighting, y'all. Figure it out. Hey. None of my business. Really, I just great news on the coronavirus front. The numbers are going down. They're down to the levels they were in November. But if you're like me, I was shook in November, so I'm still shook.
Yeah.
The reason why they're going down is because they were so damn high because of Christmas and New Year's. So don't sleep, y'all. I mean, the number.
Valentine's Day was just last week, so.
Oh yeah, folks definitely not wearing their masks then.
There wasn't no mask on Valentine's. Well, I had mine because I get cash app. So I get cash app for Valentine's Day. So I don't have no Corona. I got a Corona free Valentine because I don't get gifts. I get money.
Hey, that's thoughtful. You don't think that's thoughtful?
Some women looking at you like, what's the problem?
No. I'm saying it's thoughtful because he was like, I don't want to give a Corona this year, so I'm gonna just send her the cash.
You gotta look at it from the other side. He cares.
Ladies, if you're watching this, make him put in some effort for gifts. And listen, men usually are who they are. You know what I mean? Like when you get him, when you meet him, and he, when you're in that first stage, he's probably gonna be like that the whole time.
I object.
So make sure you put your foot down in the beginning. Let him know that if you like gifts and not monetary gifts, and that's a thing for you, let him know right away.
Does he know your love language, Kymmy?
No, that's the damn problem.
Why doesn't he know your love language?
He don't care.
He don't care.
After a few years, that is gone.
I'm
gonna be honest.
Music has a song called "Teach Me How to Love." You know what I'm saying?
Baby, ain't no music.
You gotta.
After a few years, it's Tupac.
Ain't nothing wrong with teaching them how to love.
And Master P, okay. All the R&B is gone. Now we in the hip hop stage of our relationship.
I just hope it's a nice beat.
This beat been going on for a long time. Anyway, y'all, we're gonna wrap it up soon, but I just want to say something because we all had a conversation on our phone call for the week, and be patient with people. I'm not patient at all. I'm saying this because I wish it was something that I could do, and I really want to give a shout out and really just tell people that are patient. It's something I wish I was. There are some people that are really totally oblivious to a lot of social justice, political issues. They just don't know. They don't care. They have had the privilege of not having to know. So any opportunity you have to people to tell them in a nice and patient way. We all have to be in this country together. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones that make a brighter day. Blah, blah, blah. So Dom, the militant activist, was like, hell no, you could Google, you could read stuff, and you know better, and da-da-da. Because I think that you think everybody came here under a certain set of circumstances, and it's not true, because like I told you on the phone,
I'm going to defend myself after this.
I have friends that are not European descent, and they ask me all the time, like, well, why is this, and what happened here, and why is that? Because you have to remember, we are a country of immigrants, right? And some people, I say this, don't take this the wrong way, please, because you know I'm sarcastic because I'm from New Jersey and we just say stuff, okay? But some people are just happy to be here. And I mean that in a very nice way. But some people get here from wherever they came from and they just want to work and take care of their family. And thank you, because you pay taxes and you're a great citizen. But you didn't take the time to realize or to learn, why are these people angry with each other? What happened here? What's the background? I came from insert country and I moved to insert state in the South. And I was totally unaware that people were enslaved here. I was totally unaware that people were tortured here. And I was totally unaware, because my impression of the United States is the streets are paved with gold and everyone has the same opportunity, because that's what we sell, right? We sell that we're just democratic. Everyone can get that pot of gold. And then they get here and the lights are out. They ain't got no water. And they're just trying to figure out what's going on. So you got to be patient and tell people. That's what I think. What you think?
I totally disagree.
Because you always do.
I'm going to say this. I feel like people always say they want you to be real. They want you to be honest. They want you to be straightforward with them. And then when you do that, it's an issue. So I always tell people this. Like, this is real life. Of course, like, I believe in respecting people. I believe in mutual love. Like, I believe in community. I believe in all of that. Like, I'm not one of the people that just wake up naturally and want to fight. Like, I wish nothing but peace, love, joy, and money and abundance for everybody.
For everyone, right.
But,
so you won't have to try to take mine.
But, once again, this is also something I learned from my dad as a very young man. And he would always tell me, like, in this house, you're royalty. But when you step outside, don't nobody give a who you are. You know what I'm saying? Until you earn that right, you know what I'm saying, to be on. And I feel like that's the issue with the life we have today. Everybody has a platform. You don't have to work to have a platform no more. You can get on your IG or your Facebook or whatever platform you have and say whatever you want to. I'm the person, like, I'm not one of those people. Just for example, like, if we beefing on Facebook, when you see me, we're going to be beefing. I ain't going to be no fake.
Me
you
too,
know what I'm
me
saying?
too, absolutely.
But what I always tell people, life is a jungle. You know what I'm saying? No matter how you want to cut it, like, it's survival of the fittest, it's survival of the people who are smartest, it's survival of the people who have the most money and resources. So as a simple person, I try to respect you as a person who is smart, who is intelligent. Like, I don't assume you're stupid. I don't assume you're, you know what I'm saying, any bad things. I want to think nothing but the best of you. So with that assumption, I assume you have common sense.
That's
you know
not,
what I'm saying?
I
but,
don't do that.
And
people really don't.
But what I'm saying is, life doesn't give a care about what you think.
They really don't.
If you in the jungle making a bunch of noise, something gonna come for you. You know what I'm saying? You either being hunted or you hunting. And so just because you're naive enough to not think there are lions in the jungle, if one run up on you, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Exactly. So in life, that's how you gotta think. And the people that are naive, that's who the lions eat. And so you're lucky if you encounter somebody like me, because I'm going to set you straight, but I'm not going to eat you. There's people out here that's going to eat you.
But that's all I'm asking people to do. Just set the people straight. Let them know.
And I'm going to set you straight. And if you mad about it afterward, that's your issue. Like, you know what I'm saying? 4 agreements. First one, never take anything personally.
After the death of...
I live by that.
After the death of George Floyd, we had a lot of people opening their ears and their eyes, and they wanted to see and they wanted to know. And I'm big on... There's a time and a place, and there's a season for everything.
Right.
And this is the season to open up your damn mouth and tell people what you want, what you need, what hurt you, what didn't hurt you, what you want. Like, be honest. We gotta be honest, because if we keep just trying to appease people, we're never gonna get anywhere. We're gonna always be in the position that we're in right now. Like I said earlier, the universe, what I call God, is trying to show us stuff. But unless we pay attention, we're going to lose it. And I don't want this time to get lost, because now we see how bad it can get. Texas could be any one of us on any day.
And it has been in the whole scheme of
on
things.
any
every year
with the coronavirus.
Yeah, we're not. None of us are far away from being in a totally different situation, one way or another. So we have to keep that in mind when we dealing with people.
So I think that's it. What else did you guys? Did you have anything, Jay Black? I'm glad I didn't have to go to Texas. I hope you guys prepare, stay safe, vote for better people. Make sure you keep water, food. I think we all should just do that.
And that's something too. I do want to
always be prepared.
Like, of course, it's life. You never can tell what's gonna happen the next day. But I do want, and this is me talking to myself also. With what just went on in Texas, it made me more aware of where I need to show up. You know, thinking about having a family, and you know what happens if certain things happen. Like, we gotta have plans. You know.
Since you guys don't have kids, has coronavirus and the no school and all this stuff going on, has that changed? Like, has that made you say, like, damn, I'm even more glad I don't have kids now, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like last year, and then like he just said, even with this, like it was just an eye opener. Like, it's like, man, you really got to be prepared for certain stuff, because this stuff is really, it's not just movie stuff. Like, this is stuff we're experiencing in real life.
In real time.
I think it just kind of, I mean, I've always been a person that try to be ahead and try to be proactive, but I think even more now, it's just like the smaller things, like, you know, the water, just having water in the house at all times, stuff like that, just being prepared.
I'm going to take the water in my trunk in my house and be straight.
What did I tell you before the show?
Yeah, you're always going to need water.
Keep that water.
I didn't take it to Texas. All right, y'all be good. Make sure you check out our previous episodes on CTD_ATL. Check out innovativeblackstation.com. And we have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. It's Connected the Dots. And anywhere you listen, if you don't want to like look at us, you don't have to. You can just listen to wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. We will see you guys next week. And again, if you have anything you need us to talk about, I appreciate all your inboxes and all your videos, and staying in touch with us and letting us know what kind of topics you want to talk about, because that Tennessee abortion thing got people. Oh yeah. Got your minds going. So yeah, we will check you guys out next week. Peace.